Hello, this is Lantern2814 with a part 2 video review for Dinobots Power the Prime's Volcanicus combiner. I apologize for the last video, it cut it short on me. I was going to do the video like I did with Abominus, where it was all one video, but my camera ran out of memory, so I had to get the videos uploaded onto YouTube first before I could take those off my camera and start making or finishing up this review. So this is going to be part 2 of Volcanicus. So far we have got Sludge transformed into leg mold, and we've already got Slag or Slug transformed into leg mode as well, and combined with Grimlock. Right now we're just going to attach Sludge on there so that way he can stand on his own. See, as you can see, this is what I was saying before about the prime armors for these figures can combine in the back of the foot to make a heel spur to help balance it better. You don't have to have them on there, but A, it gives you something to do with the prime armors, and B, it also does add a little security for the balance. Now, as I've probably explained in the last video, that these prime armors for this, they can actually combine in the side. There is a hole here, and then this just goes right in. And then you're able to do that. So it kind of bulks up, let me see here, kind of bulks up the body a little bit. But that's no reason why I said that Hasbro should have had, with the Grimlock figure, they should have had an extra set of these. Because, you know, if you got this for your kids, you know how kids are. They tend to lose stuff, especially accessories. I have an original Menasor from the 1980s that my mom got me, but I've only got, I believe it's breakdowns and breakdown and dead ends pistols. I have breakdown and dead ends the back cannons, and that's it. I'm missing the everyone's weapons. The only weapon I do have currently on hand is Menasor's gun. I lost his sword. So like I said, kids tend to lose accessories, so it would have been nice if they would have included an extra set of hands in with the feet with this. That would have allowed you to fill this in and then still have your heel spurs in the back, and then the other parts have in their hands. So we're going to get on to Swoop now, getting transformed into the right arm. Take the sword off, its prime armor off. You just flip this back, like so. You can swing the pterodactyl legs down. It's almost like you're transforming him back into robot mode. Disconnect these from the side because they'll hold that in place, and you don't want that to be held in place right now. So you're able to rotate that at the waist. Now you can still keep those there, but the shoulders, you gotta put the bird wings back down because you had moved them up so you can fit that prime armor on. You move them back down. Pull these out so you have some clearance when you do it. There's gonna be a tab here on the shoulder, and then there is a slot right there. It's just like the Cutthroat review I showed you, or the yeah, well, I explained that in the Cutthroat review as well. The Cutthroat review or the Abominus Combiner review, where I showed those tabs and how it hooks up. He practically transforms the same way. Now, it's recommended that you put these wings out till that that little tab hits that slot there, so you know you've have it fully extended. Because if you keep that wing folded up and down, you'll never be able to bend the arm properly. Come on, go back together. And then that just folds down like I said, like you're transferring it to robot mode. But that's where your prime armor hooks up. Rotate the thumb up, and then put the other one down. I've explained it before. I believe I first explained it in the cutthroat review, where when you fold that second thumb up, it basically forms this part of your hand, in my opinion. Because the hand's like this pretty much, and then with that thumb piece, it kind of does the meat of this. You know what I mean? Otherwise, it looks just silly to me with double thumbs like that, especially when your other combiners aren't that way. Now, this sometimes doesn't want to hold together very well. I notice a lot of combiners for like Combiner Wars and for this line, certain ones I don't use for certain limbs because of stuff like that. Bending it, to use it or pose it or whatnot, will end up separating that for some reason. I can't figure out why. There we go. Okay, and then that just slides right into the shoulder, slides straight down, just like all the Combiner War figures. And then you can either have that whole section down or you can keep it up like that. It's your preference. But in order to be able to have articulation going this way, you're going to have to bend that down. Now what you can do is take Swoop's sword and he can hold it. Okay, and now on to Snarl. Okay, take his prime armor off, take his sword off. Fold the, or rotate the legs up. Fold the head in. Start to separate that. Now try to pull it apart. See, that's why I do that with the head. That way I'm able to use it as levers to pull. Just be gentle so you don't accidentally break your figure. Legs rotate out. You're going to have to click those back there. Some of these are borderline like you're trying to transform them back into robot mode. Anyhow, fold this down. This is just like Sinnoh Twins. This has kind of got like a click. Not sure if you can hear it, but rotate these back in together, and that should hold that all together. Now this has got a set of double pegs, I guess you can call it, right here, and then there's a solid slot in there when the head's put together. That fits right down in and locks in. Now rotate your legs in the right direction, depending on which arm you're using, obviously. This at the shoulder, you rotate that up, and then rotate the forearm. Let's see if this is, yep. And then, it's notorious with Combiner Wars and with Power of the Primes, where they want you to keep rotating the forearms for some reason. That's because, because I understand why they couldn't have done it on this side somehow. There's a tab hole there, a slot, and then there is a tab right there in the body. Let's see if I can get an angle where you can kind of see it in contrast with the light. Sometimes parts with, like tabs on color, like this is red tab on red, sometimes hard to see. But that fits right on there, and that holds the arm into place. But you got to remember to put the shoulders up. And then that goes in. And then you can, if you want, pull this back. So you can rotate that. And then you can keep it like that, or you can click it back in. There is somewhat of a space there for it. I wouldn't recommend it, though. I would just keep it back, or you can open up like this and then do like that. Oh, sorry. Let me show you again. I apologize for that. You can either keep it back like that, or you can separate like that, and then it can look like that, and then you can put these flat if you want, and keep them out. And then we just put that in the other slot for Volcanicus, and then we take his hand, and I believe I mentioned in the Snarl review, if I didn't, I apologize for that. For some reason, all these guys' prime armor, obviously except for Grimlock's, all these guys' prime armors They are 100% identical to each other, except for his, and I do not know why. They are all completely black with the little clear gun, except for his has got a gold peg on it, and I do not know why they did that. I don't know why they kept them all identical, except for this one has got a gold peg. But that's how I end up making sure that he gets his actual prime armor. So that just fits right in the hole, and then you can, if you want, have his sword in his hand, or like I mentioned before, I like attaching their weapons to themselves, so you can go in the back and on his other shoulder put the sword in the other shoulder's hole. Let's see here. Now you can, if you want, if you've got them prime armors or prime masters, you know, this could be Volcanicus' gun. Any of them could be Volcanicus, and that's always wonderful. That's the one thing I'm not fond of some of these, is the fact that it does that. Let's make sure I got it put on right. Let me check with another prime master to make sure. Yeah, okay. Yeah, some of these I understand why. If you put just a hair too much pressure on them, they end up popping off. I'll be doing a separate review at some other point on these prime masters, where I'll probably be doing 3 prime masters in a review, so it'll be like all the Oddbot ones, the Decepticon ones, so on and so forth. But yeah, so there he can have a gun. I think, you know, honestly, I think that's the only reason why Hasbro didn't give Grimlock his gun, or any of the other combiners truly their weapons, except for technically Starscream. They did give him his arm null raise. But that's the only reason I can think they didn't give them their weapons, is because you can use that for a weapon. But you know, I need, in my opinion, I'm Generation 1 fan, big G1 fan. To me, Grimlock needs his actual gun. But anyhow, you can do that, and then you can probably take this off, and then let's say, you know, which way does the head go? Goes like that. You can do that. Oh, and now he's powered up. So, you know, each one of these can hook up a prime master to it. So you got Swoop. You can go in his prime armor. The feet for Volcanicus can fit too, and then you can fit the 2 back here. Then you can fit the 2 back here, and I thought that was pretty neat. So, overall, let me get this off. Overall, you know, it's a neat figure. It was nice that they Hasbro finally came up with doing a combiner for the Dinobots. I mean, they're, like I've said in the last review, I believe it was, a lot of fans have taken their original G1 figures and dismantled them and added parts to them and so on and so forth to make them so they combine into a Dinobot combiner that fans named Dino King. You know, it's nice that Hasbro finally took a nod to that and did that. You know, honestly, I think this combiner could use a little tweaking to it. They could have came up with another way for Swoops, because I noticed, like with the truck combiners, like let's see, Off-Road and Ironhide and so on and so forth, where they're a pickup truck, Trailbreaker, where if you turn it into an arm and then you either pose this or use this, whatever you do with it, it's your figures, you do whatever you want. I do not judge whatsoever on that. Anyhow, and this wants to separate all the time. I noticed with some of the cars, they do the same thing. My Dead End and Wild Rider will tend to do that at times. You know, it would have been nice because I noticed with some figures they have that tab that fits in and clicks, truly clicks, because it is slight. It's not a straight on tab like these are, where they're straight. It kind of has a slight angle to it, and therefore it clicks right in. It would have been nice if Hasbro had done that with all of them. in all honesty, with all the figures, because that to me would make sense. Because otherwise you run into this problem. Let me see if I can get to do it on the fly. So yeah, see, it started to come apart there. So it would have been nice if they would have done that, or they would have made sure that they all clicked, you know. In some way, it could have clicked back here and held. It could have clicked in the, well, it would be the front of Swoop's legs and clicked. It could have been in the feet here and clicked. That would have been nice. Otherwise, I end up having to make certain figures a certain limb. For instance, those truck figures, the truck combiners, like Ironhide and Trailbreaker and such. I notoriously make them legs, because all that is together, and I don't have to worry about them, you know, bending at the knees and then doing the, you know, coming apart like that. You know, which sometimes it'll look fine, but it would look weird to me to put Swoop as a leg, because Swoop's kind of on the slender side, and putting him as a leg would make the leg look thin. Because right now these two down here, Sludge and Slag, they are the identical molds. You know, this is all identical. You know, let's see here. Yeah, the lower legs, basically transformations all identical. All that stuff's identical. You know, there's just the retooling on certain parts. In fact, these arms between these two are identical. It's just that they put the shoulders on the opposite sides. Because you see the little ridges and then the triangular piece. Same thing over here. That's all they did, was they swapped out the shoulders on opposite sides, and then obviously put on the correct legs because it's got to hook up just right, and painted those different. You know, it's basically the same thing. So to me, it looks good. It looks like, you know, I don't know. It just would look weird to me otherwise. Otherwise, like with the shoulders here, the weight after a while, this does come out a little bit. See, this one's starting to do it too. It is a snug fit, but it's not snug enough to support the weight constantly. So it does come loose. Yeah, and then, you know, this will go at an angle. God, I used to hate action figures that were that way. That's why a lot of the times I put mine straight on like this, where, you know, it sits like that, so that way it does rotate at the hips properly. Another thing fans I heard complain about was that this section is bare. You know, this sticks way out like an alien from Aliens, you know, Sigourney Weaver and stuff, like it's popping out of his chest. You know, especially with the Matrix, sorry, the Prime, yeah, that would be the Matrix core. It sticks way out. You know, to me, that's a vulnerability, especially with the Dinobots being so aggressive and combat prone. That's, I don't know the story behind these yet, but to me, that's a weak spot, right? That you know, look at that red with the silver. That looks like a bullseye to me right now. And the other problem I've noticed and have heard fans complain about with the combiners in general, the Combiner Wars figures, except for certain ones, the backs are awfully bare. This is practically straight down. You know, that's why Perfect Effect had came out with kits for those series, like the Motormaster Optimus Prime combiners, where they had built a piece that actually fills in the back, and it helps keep it all together a lot better. This is too bare. This is, I mean, you know, when you've got this curvature to it and sticking out, and then this stuff sticking out, you know, bulk-wise, this is, and then this is flat. This I can understand, because the legs have got to be able to bend. You know, but still, they could have something to fill that out. Otherwise, it to me, it kind of looks like some women where they stick out in the front like this, and they have absolutely no ass to them. You know, it's just flat. It's like, what the hell? Anyhow, yeah. You know, they could have done a few things. Maybe, well, let me check something real quick. I'm just curious now. Maybe if we put these fists out and lock them in, No, that doesn't support the weight enough. See, there's still a slight gap in there. Yeah, they could have done something to fill that. And I am looking to purchase, like I have done with my other combiners. I usually purchase stuff from BBTS, BigBadToyStore.com. I really recommend them. They're very good customer service and such. They've got good products. Well, TF Source does too, but you know, I've always dealt with Big Bad Toy Store. I think since either '08 or '04. So I've been a loyal customer for a long time. But they do offer Perfect Effects kits. Their Perfect Combiner series, which I purchased, I believe every single one for the Combiner Wars stuff. Yeah. They do have 2 sets for Volcanicus. They have ones where it's the upgraded hands where they're more articulated and such. I couldn't tell from the pictures if these spike sections, because I believe theirs has the spike sections too. I can't tell if those actually rotate down. Kind of like what Dreamwave had in one of their Transformers Generation 1 comics, where Predaking, you know, he's got the same spikes. His rotated down. You know, when he went to go fight Bruticus, his swung down, so he, you know, was punching basically with brass knuckle spikes. But obviously they're Cybertronian alloy. Anyhow, you know, and it also comes with the bigger upgraded feet, rather than these. These are kind of narrow. You know, when you got combiners this big, Hasbro needs to make the feet big, you know, rather than this skinny shit. You know, it supports the weight for now, but come on. Anyhow, so they've got a kit for that comes with the feet and the hands, and then there's another kit that comes with a big sword, which to my knowledge, if I remember correctly from the pictures, you can break that sword down, and each Dinobot can have a sword. And I think there might be a shield, unless there's... I know there's parts that fill this out. Oh, let me camera, sorry buddies. That fill this out, you know, and I believe it might fill out the back a little bit. And I know that the Grimlock figure, it has got parts in there for the size to make them a little longer for some reason, and upgrades on the forearms for him. But yeah, if you, I honestly, I'll be honest with you. I'll be completely honest with you. I would definitely recommend getting this, despite this slight faults with how certain things are designed, that they could have taken a completely different path. Like I said, with making these click, so that way, you know, they're held together, filling this out, that sort of thing. Maybe, you know, introducing an extra set of hands with the Grimlock figure with the feet. Aside from small stuff like that, I would, you know, unless you're an absolute perfectionist, that's got to be perfect, you know, everything in life has got some slight faults to it, but it's up to you to decide if you want to deal with it or not. But I would definitely recommend getting all 5 of these figures. These 2 I had to pay a hefty price for on eBay because my Walmart in this area doesn't really stock very well. They don't keep stuff up to stock. They've still got Wave 1 figures out. And my Toys R Us that was in Madison, Wisconsin, as everybody unfortunately knows, Toys R Us is no longer in business in the United States. So it's not like I could go down there and see if they had any like I used to do. So, you know, I got mine on eBay. I couldn't wait. I'm a very impatient person. Especially when I know something's out there, you know, and I get kind of frustrated that my state is kind of on the slow side when it comes to getting stuff. So, you know, if you're impatient too, you know, getting these, go for eBay, or I would try BigBadToyStore.com. I would definitely recommend them. Like I said, I always buy stuff from them. But, you know, I recommend the figure. This is obviously my configuration. You can configure it any way you want. To me, for combat-wise, this seems logical. You know, you can use the blades on Swoop's arms to slice, the knees to obviously knee another combiner. Let's pick on Bruticus. You know, he can knee him right in the crotch, you know, and put some spikes in there, you know. And then he's got the shoulder spikes here for, you know, like shoulder slamming, just like Swoop here, you know, that kind of thing. You know, and like I said, I have these 2 on here for bulk-wise. And then if you want, maybe have them, you know, cause your guns to swing down for, you know, shooting, you know, blasting whoever. But anyhow, like I said, I would definitely recommend this figure. Hasbro's been doing very good, except for this Grimlock. If you guys watch my Grimlock review, you would know why this figure kind of bugs me a little bit. But otherwise, Hasbro's been doing a fabulous job trying to give a nod to G1 fans with the way they've been designing the looks of the figures that they have coming out. They're very G1-esque. Very pleased with that. You know, so, you know, it would have been nice. It would have been nice if Grimlock had his big ass sword, you know, like this. The Predaking set is out now. BBTS has it. eBay has it. eBay always has it. The Predaking set is out now. Just would like to say something about that, especially in comparison to this. I cannot figure out why Hasbro made the Predacons Voyager class. They made all the figures Voyager class, which is what they did with Devastator. To me, Devastator makes sense because construction vehicles are huge. So, you know, that I can understand, but I can't figure out why they made Predaking Voyager class when the Dinobots are Deluxe class, and there's only one Voyager class figure. It's pretty bad when Razor Claw, the central figure in Predaking, if you didn't know, he's a lion, how that figure is bigger than a T-Rex. I mean, think about it. You guys ever seen a lion bigger than a T-Rex? See, and that's what bugs me. These guys should have been Voyager class. All of them. And then the Predacons should have been Deluxe class. To me, that didn't make an ounce of sense when I heard about it. I mean, it's nice. I'm definitely going to be getting it. It's just that, to me, that doesn't make sense. That is completely improportionate. I've never seen a land-based animal that the Predacons are made out of that is bigger than a Brontosaurus or a T-Rex. Back in their day, all of these dinosaurs, honestly, back in the day were big. I'm not talking about G1 stuff. I'm talking about prehistory. These guys were big except for Swoop. You know, pterodactyls are obviously big compared to us, but not that big, you know, compared to a T-Rex. So I don't understand why Hasbro chose to go that route. Now I understand the regular Predacons, the toys were bigger, but that's because they were designed by a completely different design team than the what Japan would call the Scramble City combiners. You know, I can understand that because it was, if I remember correctly, the design team that designed the Predacons was the same ones that made Power Ranger stuff for Bandai, designed Power Ranger stuff, which makes sense. That's why the connector ports and everything were different. But this is 2018 right now. Predaking should not be like that big compared to Volcanicus. That it bugs me. A T-Rex is smaller than a lion. But anyhow, thanks for listening to that part. It just, I don't know if anybody else feels the same way that I do. It's just that it bugged me a lot, obviously, that the size comparison's way the hell off. Anyhow, this was, okay, before I go, this is Slash. Obviously, you guys have seen my Slash review. It would have been nice if Hasbro would have made some way for her to interact or combine with these guys. I'm sure I could figure out some way of hooking her up. If I do find a successful way of hooking her up, or if I see a fan base design to hook her up to them, I will do it to mine, and then I will do a small video review on that to show you guys how it can be done and such. Because this is, to me, this is kind of an oddball. The only thing I can think of is, let's say they're moving into battle all combined. You send her in as a scout or something. Or maybe or sort of like Jurassic World, where let's say he's going up against Bruticus. Sorry, Bruticus. She could run around and leap on him and attack him as well. You know, maybe hit vulnerable points from the back or whatnot while they're giving old Bruticus a good old pounding. But yeah, like I said, if I figure out some way of doing it, or I see some fan base mode that allows it to hook up, I will definitely make another video for you guys, something short and sweet about that. But anyhow, this is another video review from Lantern 2814 this time for, this is part 2, for Power of the Primes Volcanicus. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm still new at this. So any comments, please leave them. I will definitely take them to heart. I'm not going to just blow them off and say, yeah, whatever. I will take them to heart. I do appreciate the input. So just want to tell you guys, have a good rest of your day, and I will see you later for other video reviews.